Hello ladies and gentlemen, once again this is Jeremy Smith, Photog J the Great. Today I decided to take a look at something a little bit different. I know that you guys are really used to me doing lots and lots of videos on DSLRs, but I do realize that you don't always want to carry around a DSLR, so I decided to look at something a little bit smaller today. This camera here is the Sony RX100. Before you guys even bother to look at the rest of this video, I'm going to tell you right now, I think that so far this is the best camera in this segment. The thing I like about this is it strikes a very nice balance between sensor size, image quality, and price. The thing that makes this camera different from the average compact is, well, mainly the sensor size. This has a 1-inch sensor, so basically it's the same size, or approximately the same size, as what you'd find in, say, the Nikon J1. So it's, about a 2.7 times crop factor. So it's going to be smaller than APS-C and smaller than like Olympus 4/3 or something like that, but much larger than your average compact. Now, there are some cameras that give you an even larger sensor size, say something like the Canon G1X, or even this camera's bigger brother, the Sony RX100, which is a full frame sensor. Nikon even has a newer camera coming out as well, called the Coolpix A, I believe, and it has a 16 megapixel APS-C sensor in it, so it's quite a bit larger than this one. The problem with all those cameras though is they're all $1,000 or more. The RX1 is like $2,700 USD, so a lot more expensive. There are cameras that are a little cheaper than this one, such as the Canon PowerShot S110. Depending on what you guys think about this video, we may do some comparisons with those cameras. Of course, something like the S110 is a little bit less expensive, but sensor size is much closer to what you'd find in an average compact camera. So that's why I feel like this one right here so far is a nice balance. It's a much larger sensor size than most compacts, but it's not just terribly expensive. This one's $649 USD. So I feel like it's a nice balance between cost and performance. Anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at the camera close up. Okay, taking a closer look at the camera here, I'll go ahead and power her on. There we are. As I mentioned before, this camera is a 1-inch sensor. It's 20 megapixels, so as you'd imagine, it's very, very good in low light. I took several sample photos up to 3200 ISO with this. And by the way, guys, in this video, I'm not going to show all the samples I normally do. I kind of have a feeling that most people watch my videos to see the close-ups of how the cameras operate. But in future videos, I'm going to do updates, and we'll kind of test cameras in different conditions, and just give me feedback on that, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, but taking a look at the camera closer here on the back, that's one of the main things I like about this camera. It has an absolutely gorgeous screen. It actually has 1.2 million dots, and Sony, they have a newer technology now, which is called white magic, which sounds like something out of a Zelda game or something. But anyways, it actually incorporates, still just having RGB pixels on the display, they added white pixels in there as well. So basically the colors are purer and more vibrant, and yeah, it's just a much higher resolution display in general as well, so very nice there. If I had to say just one negative thing about this camera, I mean, whenever I took it out of the box, I absolutely love the way it looked, but I mean, this camera is a fingerprint magnet. I've been wiping on this thing all evening long, and it looks like I never even touched it. But anyways, going on to the controls though, I have the camera in full manual right now. Although that's one of the other things I like about this camera is the fact that in the auto setting, Sony they have something called Intelligent Auto, and it sounds a bit marketing speak-ish, but it actually works very, very well. So this camera does a good job of trying to determine what you're taking a photo of and adjusting itself appropriately. But if you're like me and you want to shoot it in manual, it gives you lots of great provisions to do so. If you remember some of the other reviews I've done on other Sony cameras, you'll find that the controls on this camera are similar. It has a command dial right here that can be customized, and then you have a dial back here on the back of the camera. In the manual setting, the rear dial here acts as your shutter speed, and the front dial up here acts as your aperture adjustment, just like that. If you want to change another parameter, such as your ISO, you simply hit the function button and you roll the, actually you just keep hitting the function button and it automatically scrolls through the different options. So you can go between your different picture effects, you can go between your ISO, white balance, and Sony's dynamic range optimization. You can go through all those, and once you get to the option you want, you rotate the rear dial to change it. And yes, as you can see guys, the ISO adjustment is in full stops. I'm not going to give this camera such a hard time about that, since after all it is technically a point and shoot. So yeah, as you can see, very straightforward on all those settings. With this being a Sony, the video modes are outstanding. You can do up to 60 frames per second in 1080p. If you do live in a region of the country, a region of the world rather, where NTSC is not the video standard and PAL is the video standard, you'll notice that your camera will be 50 frames as opposed to 60. But that's just a difference in region. I've had that question a lot lately. If we go over to this side of the camera, you've got your mini HDMI there. And this camera takes either a Sony memory stick Duo or it takes an SD slot, which just goes right there. Oh, actually guys, sorry, this is actually not the HDMI, this is actually the USB connection. Your HDMI is down here on the bottom, right there. And then you've got your card and your battery there. In a future video, we will take a look at more samples, and as I mentioned before, I kind of want to do something a little bit different. I want to do a kind of a review on the camera, talk about the camera itself, and then depending on what you guys say in the comments, we can look at the cameras in specific situations. If you guys like this video, be sure to like and subscribe, and provide me with feedback. Maybe if we get a lot of feedback on this video, I may have to do like a comparison video with this camera and some of the other ones in its range. Until next time, this is Jeremy Smith, Photog Jay the Great, signing off.